Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the Frontier Spirit. He watched the stars through the big window at the front. 3 months ago, he had left Earth to explore new worlds far away. Now he was coming home with exciting news about planets that could support human life. "Captain, we are getting close to our solar system," said Lisa Carter, his science officer. She was a smart woman who loved studying space and new discoveries. Her fingers moved quickly over her computer as she checked their position. Jake nodded and smiled. "Good. I can't wait to tell Earth about what we found out there. Those 3 planets we discovered could house millions of people." The crew was excited to go home. They had been in space for a long time, visiting distant stars and checking if humans could live on the planets they found. It was dangerous work, but Jake loved it. He had been exploring space for 15 years. "Sir, something is wrong," said Ben Murphy, the man who controlled their ship's movement. His voice sounded worried. "I'm not getting any signals from the navigation satellites around Earth." Lisa looked up from her computer. "That's strange. Those satellites always send signals. They help ships find their way home." Jake walked over to Ben's station. "Try contacting Earth directly. Maybe there's just a problem with the satellites." Ben pressed buttons and spoke into his microphone. "Earth Control, this is Frontier Spirit. We are coming home from Mission 447. Please respond." They waited. Nothing came back. No voice, no signal, no message of any kind. "Try again," Jake said. Ben tried 5 more times. Still nothing. "Captain," Lisa said, her voice now full of fear. "Look at the main screen." Jake turned to look at the big screen that showed what was in front of their ship. What he saw made his heart stop. There was a wall in space. A giant glowing wall that went around the entire solar system like a bubble. It was blue and white and it moved like water, but it was solid. "What is that thing?" Ben asked. Lisa was already working on her computer, trying to understand what they were seeing. "It's some kind of energy barrier, Captain. It's completely surrounding our solar system. I've never seen anything like it." Jake stared at the wall. "How big is it?" "It goes all the way around the sun, Earth, and all the other planets," Lisa said. "Nothing can get in or out." "That's impossible," Ben said. "Who could build something that big?" "I don't know," Lisa replied. "But whoever did it has technology far better than ours." Jake felt cold inside. "Try to contact any human ships in the area. Maybe someone else knows what's happening." Ben sent out calls to other human ships. After a few minutes, they got an answer. "This is Admiral Nick Torres on the battleship New Horizons. We see you, Frontier Spirit. We're dealing with the same problem." "Admiral, what is that thing?" Jake asked. "We don't know yet. It appeared 3 hours ago. We've tried everything to break through it or contact Earth. Nothing works." Lisa kept studying the barrier with her instruments. "Captain, this thing is made from matter that doesn't exist in nature. Whoever built it can control the basic building blocks of the universe." "Can we break through it?" Jake asked. "I don't think so. Our weapons wouldn't even scratch it." As they watched, something new happened. Ships appeared near the barrier, but these weren't human ships. They were long and smooth like crystals, and they glowed with their own light. They were much bigger than any human ship. "Unknown vessels, please identify yourselves," Admiral Torres said over the radio. A new voice came through their speakers. It was cold and strange, but it spoke perfect English. "We are the hegemony. We control this part of the galaxy. Humans have expanded too far and too fast. You are now contained." Jake felt angry. "Contained? What do you mean?" "You will return to your homeworld and stay there. Your expansion ends now. Any attempt to leave will result in the destruction of all human worlds." "You can't do this," Admiral Torres said. "We have the right to explore space. You have no rights beyond what we give you. Your species is dangerous. You destroy your own planet. You fight wars. You take resources from other worlds without permission. The galaxy will be safer with you locked away." Lisa was still studying her instruments. "Captain, there are 12 different types of ships out there. This hegemony must be made up of many different alien species." "How many ships?" Jake asked. "Over 200 that I can see, and there might be more we can't detect." The alien voice spoke again. You have one Earth day to return to your home system. After that, anyone who tries to break the barrier will be destroyed. Your colonies outside the barrier are now cut off from Earth forever. Jake thought about all the human worlds beyond the barrier. Millions of people lived there. They depended on Earth for supplies, medicine, and communication. Without contact with Earth, some of those colonies might die. This is wrong, he said. You're splitting our people apart. That is not our concern. The decision has been made. The alien ships began to move away from the barrier, but Jake could tell they were still watching. Admiral, what are your orders? Jake asked. We need to get word to the colonies outside the barrier. They need to know what's happening, and we need to find a way to break through this thing. Lisa shook her head. Admiral, our weapons won't work against this barrier. We need a completely new approach. Then we better start thinking of one, Jake said. Because I'm not giving up on this. Humans don't quit when things get hard. Over the next few hours, more human ships arrived at the barrier. They all tried different ways to break through or contact Earth. Nothing worked. The barrier stopped. Everything. Radio signals, laser beams, even small objects thrown at high speed. As Jake watched his home planet through the strange blue wall, he made a promise to himself. Somehow, some way, humanity would break free from this prison. They had explored the stars for hundreds of years. No alien force was going to stop them now. But deep down, he wondered if humans were strong enough to fight beings who could build walls around entire star systems. The challenge ahead would test everything humanity had learned about survival, science, and never giving up hope. 3 months had passed since the hegemony put up their barrier around Earth. Life for humans had become much harder. The colonies outside the barrier could no longer get medicines, tools, or food from Earth. Some of the smaller colonies were already running out of important supplies. On Earth, people were angry and scared. Families had been split apart by the barrier. Parents couldn't talk to their children on colony worlds. The economy was failing because trade between worlds had stopped completely. Dr. Carl Rodriguez worked at a research station near Saturn's moon Titan. He was a physicist who studied energy and weapons technology. For weeks, he had been looking through old computer files, searching for any information that might help break the alien barrier. Late one night, Carl found something interesting in the classified files. It was called Project ZEUS, and it had been started 20 years ago by the Earth military. The project was designed to create the most powerful weapon humans had ever imagined. Carl read through the files with growing excitement and fear. Project ZEUS wasn't just a big bomb. It was a device that could change how matter worked at the smallest level. According to the research, it could make stars explode by changing the forces that held them together. The project had been canceled because the scientists said it was too dangerous. If used wrong, it could destroy entire solar systems and maybe even affect nearby star regions. The lead scientist had been a woman named Dr. Helen Brooks. Carl sent an encrypted message to Admiral Nick Torres, who was now leading the human resistance from his ship outside the barrier. Admiral, I found something that might help us, but we need to find Dr. Helen Brooks. When Torres read about Project ZEUS, he immediately called a secret meeting with other resistance leaders. Captain Jake Morrison was there, along with several other ship captains and colony leaders. This weapon could give us the power to negotiate with the hegemony, Torres said. But first, we need to find Dr. Brooks. Where is she? Asked Captain Morrison. The files say she disappeared after the project was canceled. She was upset about creating something so dangerous. Meanwhile, on Earth, a former soldier named Tony Clark was organizing resistance cells in major cities. Tony had fought in several conflicts between colonies before becoming a peacekeeper. He was tough, smart, and didn't like being told what to do by anyone. Tony's people had been studying the alien ships and the barrier itself. They had made some important discoveries. The barrier isn't solid everywhere, Tony explained to his team in a hidden room beneath New York City. It has weak points where the alien ships pump energy into it. Amy Watson, a computer expert, showed pictures on a large screen. We've identified 6 major energy stations around our solar system. If we could damage or destroy those stations, the barrier might fail. How do we get close to them? asked Pete Collins, another resistance fighter. The aliens have guards around each station. We're working on that, Tony said. But even if we could attack those stations, we'd need weapons powerful enough to damage alien technology. Right now, we don't have anything that strong. Tony's team had also been watching the alien ships. They had learned that the hegemony forces were not all the same. Some species seemed to be in charge while others followed orders. There were also signs that not all the aliens completely agreed with keeping humans locked up. The tree-like aliens. And the glowing ones seemed to make most of the decisions, Amy reported. The others follow their lead. Maybe we can find allies among the aliens, Pete suggested. Don't count on it, Tony replied. They all agreed to put up this barrier. Back at Titan Station, Carl Rodriguez had been working with other scientists to understand more about Project ZEUS. What they learned was both exciting and terrifying. The weapon works by sending out a special kind of energy wave, explained Dr. Maria Santos, a weapons expert. This wave can break the bonds that hold atoms together, but it does it in a controlled way, like a chain reaction that can be aimed. How powerful is it? Carl asked. If used on a star, it could make that star explode within hours. The explosion would be much bigger than a natural supernova. It could affect other stars nearby and create a chain reaction across several solar systems. Carl felt scared. No wonder they canceled the project. But it could also be used in smaller ways. Maria continued. We could target the alien energy stations or their ships without destroying entire star systems. The problem was finding Dr. Brooks. According to the files, she had left Earth right after the project was canceled and hadn't been seen since. Some people thought she might be dead, but others believed she was hiding somewhere in the outer colonies. Captain Morrison volunteered to search for her. I know the outer colonies better than anyone. If she's out there, I'll find her. It won't be easy, Admiral Torres warned. The aliens patrol those areas now, and even if you find her, she might not want to help us. Why wouldn't she want to? Help? Morrison asked. Think about it. She created a weapon that could destroy civilizations, then hid from the world because she was ashamed of what she had done. She might not want to unleash that kind of power again. But Morrison was determined. Humans are suffering because of this barrier. Children are dying on colony worlds that can't get medicine from Earth. If this ZEUS weapon is our only hope, then we have to try. Torres agreed to give Morrison a fast ship and a small crew for the mission. They would have to avoid alien patrols and search dozens of worlds where Brooks might be hiding. Meanwhile, Tony Clark's resistance cells on Earth continued to gather information about the barrier and the alien ships. They also began recruiting more people to their cause. The resistance was growing stronger every day. The aliens made a mistake, Tony told his lieutenants. They thought we would just give up and accept being prisoners. They don't understand humans very well. What do you mean? Amy asked. Humans fight hardest when someone tries to take away their freedom. The more the aliens squeeze us, the more we'll push back. As the weeks passed, the situation got worse for human colonies outside the barrier. 3 small colonies had already been abandoned because they couldn't survive without Earth's support. But instead of making humans give up, this only made them more angry and determined. The search for Dr. Brooks was about to begin. Project ZEUS, the most dangerous weapon ever conceived by human science, might soon be humanity's last hope for freedom among the stars. Captain Jake Morrison's ship, the Swift Arrow, moved quietly through space toward the edge of human territory. He was looking for Dr. Helen Brooks, the scientist who had created Project ZEUS 20 years ago. With him were Lisa Carter, his science officer, and Agent Karen Walsh, a negotiator who was good at convincing people to help. They had already searched 15 worlds where Brooks might be hiding. Each search was dangerous because alien patrols watched the outer colonies closely. So far, they had found nothing. Captain, I'm picking up a signal from the planet Haven's Rest, Lisa said. It's very weak, but it might be human. Haven's Rest was known as a place where people went when they wanted to disappear. It was a cold, rocky world with thick forests and deep caves. Many people who had problems with Earth's government lived there. Take us down carefully, Morrison said. If Dr. Brooks is there, she probably doesn't want to be found. They landed in a clearing near the signal source. The air was cold and thin, and snow fell lightly from gray clouds. Morrison, Lisa, and Karen put on heavy coats and walked into the forest. After an hour of searching, they found a small cabin hidden among the trees. Smoke came from its chimney, and they could see light in the windows. Karen knocked on the door. "Dr. Brooks, we're from Earth. We need your help." The door opened slightly. An old woman with gray hair looked out at them. She was thin and wore simple clothes. Her eyes were tired and sad. "Go away," she said quietly. "I don't want to talk to anyone from Earth." "Please, Dr. Brooks. Humanity is in great danger. The aliens have trapped us in our solar system. I know about the barrier. It's not my problem anymore." Karen had studied Brooks's life before coming on this mission. She knew the right words to use. "Dr. Brooks, millions of people are suffering. Children on the outer colonies are dying because they can't get medicine from Earth. I can't help them. I won't help them." Morrison stepped forward. "Dr. Brooks, my name is Jake Morrison. I've been exploring space for 15 years. I've seen what humans can do when they work together. We've built beautiful cities on dead worlds. We've saved species from dying out. We've created art and music among the stars. I know what humans can create," Brooks replied. "I also know what they can destroy." Lisa tried next. "Dr. Brooks, the ZEUS project files say you were worried about your weapon being used wrong. But what if we only use it to protect ourselves?" Brooks laughed, but there was no humor in it. "That's what they always say. Every weapon is created for protection. But weapons have a way of being used for other things." "These aliens want to keep us locked up forever," Karen said. "They think we're too dangerous to be free. If we don't fight back, human civilization will be split in half forever." "Maybe that's for the best," Brooks said. "Maybe humans are too dangerous." This made Morrison angry. "How can you say that? You're human too. I'm the human who created a weapon that could destroy entire solar systems. I know exactly how dangerous we can be." Karen pulled out a small device and showed Brooks a recording. It was from a colony world outside the barrier. A mother held her sick child in her arms. "Please, if anyone from Earth can hear this," the woman in the recording said, crying, "send us medicine. My little boy is dying. We have no way to help him without the supplies we used to get from Earth." Brooks watched the recording with tears in her eyes. "Turn it off." "There are thousands of children like him," Karen said gently. "The aliens don't care if they die. They only care about keeping humans contained. I won't build ZEUS again. I can't." "Dr. Brooks," Morrison said, "I understand. You're afraid of what the weapon might do. But right now, the only thing we're afraid of is losing our freedom forever." Brooks stood quietly for a long moment, looking out at the snow falling in the forest. Finally, she spoke. "Do you know why I left Earth after the ZEUS project was canceled?" "The files say you disagreed with the military about how the weapon should be used," Lisa replied. "That's part of it. But the real reason was simpler. I realized I had created something that no human should ever have the power to control. ZEUS doesn't just destroy matter. It breaks the rules that hold the universe together." "But you did create it," Karen pointed out. "The knowledge exists. The question is whether it will be used to help humanity or whether humanity will die in a cage." Brooks looked at each of them. "If I agree to help you, I have conditions." "What conditions?" Morrison asked. "First, I build the weapon myself with a team I choose. Second, only I have the authority to activate ZEUS. Third, it will be used only as a threat, never as an actual weapon unless we have no other choice." "Those terms sound fair," Morrison said. "You don't understand," Brooks replied. "If ZEUS is ever used at full power, it could kill everything in several star systems. Planets, space stations, ships, everything would be destroyed. The energy release could even damage space itself." Lisa felt scared but tried not to show it. "How do we know you won't change your mind and refuse to activate it when the time comes?" "You don't," Brooks said honestly. That's the risk you take when you ask someone to build a weapon of ultimate destruction. Karen showed her more recordings from the colonies. Families separated by the barrier, children crying for parents they might never see again, entire communities slowly dying without Earth's support. I can't promise ZEUS will save them, Brooks said finally, but I can promise that if I don't try to help, I'll never forgive myself. She packed a small bag with her few possessions and followed them back to their ship. As the swift arrow lifted, off from Haven's Rest, Brooks looked down at the cabin she had called home for 12 years. I hope I'm making the right choice, she said quietly. During the trip back to Earth, Brooks began making plans for rebuilding ZEUS. The weapon would be much smaller than the original design, but also more powerful. 20 years of thinking about the project had given her new ideas. We'll build it in secret, she explained to Morrison. Somewhere the aliens can't detect what we're doing. Where do you suggest? Underground, deep beneath one of Earth's mountains. We'll need the world's best scientists and engineers, but only people who can be completely trusted. Lisa was studying the old ZEUS files. Dr. Brooks, according to these plans, ZEUS needs an enormous amount of power to work. Yes, we'll have to build special generators that can create more energy than most cities use. And if something goes wrong during construction? Brooks looked at her seriously. If something goes wrong, we could accidentally blow up half of Earth. That's why this has to be done perfectly with no mistakes. As Earth grew larger on their view screen, Morrison felt both hope and fear. They had found the one person who could build humanity's ultimate weapon, but that same person had spent 12 years hiding from the world because she was afraid of what she had created. The fate of human freedom among the stars now rested in the hands of a woman who wasn't sure humans deserved to be free. 2 days after the barrier appeared, the alien ship sent a message. They wanted to meet with human leaders to explain their decision. Admiral Nick Torres chose Commander Ryan Bell to represent humanity in the talks. Ryan had spent 10 years as Earth's top diplomat, solving problems between different human colonies. He was calm under pressure and good at finding solutions that worked for everyone. But he had never dealt with aliens before. The meeting took place on the largest alien ship. As Ryan's shuttle approached the crystal vessel, he could see it was at least 5 miles long. Strange lights moved inside its walls like living things. "Commander, we're getting some readings from that ship that don't make sense," said his pilot, Lisa Kane. "It's like the ship is alive somehow." "Just get us there, safely," Ryan said. He was nervous but tried not to show it. Everything he said or did could affect the future of all humans. Inside the alien ship, Ryan found himself in a huge room with walls that looked like they were made of light. 12 different types of aliens sat in a circle around him. Some looked like giant insects, others like living rocks, and some he couldn't even describe. The one who spoke was tall and thin with blue skin. "I am Keithvar of the Vorthak people. We speak for the hegemony." "I'm Commander Ryan Bell of Earth," he replied. "Why are you keeping us prisoner in our own star system?" A different alien answered this time. It looked like a tree made of metal. "Prisoner is not the correct word. You are contained for the safety of the galaxy." "Safety? We've never attacked anyone." "Your actions speak differently," said a third alien that glowed like a star. "In 200 Earth years, you have taken control of 47 star systems. No species in galactic history has expanded so fast." Ryan felt confused. "We colonized those worlds because we needed space for our growing population, and we only settled on planets with no intelligent life. But you changed those worlds to suit your needs," Kethvar said. "You poisoned atmospheres, killed local plants and animals, and used up natural resources. We call it terraforming. We make worlds suitable for human life. You call it terraforming. We call it destruction." Another alien, this one covered in scales, spoke up. "Your species has a history of violence. You have fought wars for thousands of years. You destroyed much of your home planet with pollution and weapons." Ryan tried to stay calm. "Yes, we've made mistakes, but we've also learned from them. We stopped the worst pollution on Earth. We haven't had a major war in over a century." "That may be true on your home world," said the glowing alien. "But we have watched your colonies. You fight over mining rights, trade routes, and territory. Some of your colonies have threatened others with military action. Ryan couldn't deny this completely. There had been tensions between some human worlds, though no actual fighting. Look, he said, every growing civilization has problems, but humans are good people. We explore space because we're curious, not because we want to conquer anyone. Curiosity can be dangerous, Keithvar replied. Your species learns fast and creates powerful weapons. In 50 more years, you might challenge the hegemony itself. We don't want to challenge anyone. We just want to be free to live our lives. The metal tree alien made a sound like wind blowing through leaves. Freedom must have limits. The galaxy has been peaceful for 3,000 years because the hegemony maintains order. Whose order? Ryan asked, feeling angry now. You decided our fate without even talking to us first. We talked to other species about humans, said a new alien that looked like a giant jellyfish floating in the air. The Kalani people live near some of your colonies. They say humans are loud, messy, and take things without asking. The Kalani never told us they objected to anything we did. They are peaceful. They do not like conflict. But they reported their concerns to us. Ryan realized he was fighting a losing battle. These aliens had already made up their minds about humans. What exactly do you want from us? Simple, Keithvar said. All humans return to Earth. You stay within your solar system. You can live on your moon, Mars, and the other planets around your sun, but you cannot travel to other stars. That's impossible. We have millions of people living on colony worlds. Some of those worlds can't survive without supplies from Earth. The colonies outside the barrier can form their own government. The barrier will remain permanently. You're splitting our species in half. That is unfortunate but necessary. Ryan thought about all the families that would never see each other again. Children separated from parents, husbands from wives, friends from friends. This is cruel. The galaxy's safety is more important than human feelings, said the scaled alien. Ryan tried a different approach. What if we agreed to limits on our expansion? We could explore only a few new worlds each year and follow rules you set. The aliens looked at each other. For a moment, Ryan hoped he had found a solution. No, Keithvar finally said. Humans cannot be trusted to keep such agreements. Your history shows you break promises when it suits you. You're judging all of us based on our past mistakes. The past predicts the future. Ryan spent 6 more hours trying to change their minds. He explained human achievements in art, science, and philosophy. He talked about human kindness and charity. He promised that Earth would work with the hegemony to maintain peace. Nothing worked. The aliens had decided that humans were too dangerous to be allowed freedom in space. Finally, Keithvar stood up. This discussion is over. You have 30 Earth days to spread the word to all human ships and colonies. After that, anyone who tries to break the barrier will be destroyed. As Ryan's shuttle flew back toward the human ships, he felt defeated. The aliens were too powerful and too stubborn. Their technology was so advanced that humans couldn't fight them. But as he looked at the barrier surrounding Earth, he remembered something his grandfather had told him when he was a boy. Humans don't give up. Ryan, when someone tells us we can't do something, that just makes us more determined to prove them wrong. Maybe the aliens were right about one thing. Humans could be dangerous when pushed too far, and keeping them locked up like prisoners might be the biggest mistake the hegemony had ever made. Over the next few weeks, word spread to all human worlds about the alien ultimatum. The reaction was anger, fear, and determination. No one was ready to give up on human freedom in space. The question was, what could they do against beings who could build walls around star systems? The answer would have to come from human intelligence, creativity, and the refusal to accept defeat that had carried their species from caves to the stars. Dr. Helen Brooks stood in a vast underground chamber beneath the Swiss mountains. The room had been carved from solid rock and was bigger than a football stadium. Hundreds of scientists and engineers worked around the clock to build ZEUS, humanity's last hope against the alien blockade. How much longer until the weapon is ready? Asked Dr. Carl Rodriguez, who had become Brooks's chief assistant on the project. At least 6 more weeks, Brooks replied, watching teams of workers install the massive power generators. ZEUS is not just a weapon. It's a machine that can change the basic rules of how matter works. Every part must be perfect. The ZEUS device looked like a giant metal ring surrounded by complex computers and energy systems. It stood 30 feet tall and was covered with cables, sensors, and warning signs. When activated, it would send out invisible waves that could break apart the forces holding atoms together. President Maria Santos visited the underground facility every few days. She was worried about the cost and the danger of the project, but she knew it might be humanity's only chance for freedom. Dr. Brooks, our intelligence sources say the aliens are getting suspicious, she said during one visit. They know we're planning something, but they don't know what. Good, Brooks replied. If they knew we were building ZEUS, they would attack Earth immediately. Above ground, Tony Clark's resistance cells were working to hide the project from alien spies. They had discovered that some aliens could disguise themselves as humans and were living in Earth cities, gathering information. We've identified at least 20 alien agents, Tony reported to his team. They look human, but our scanners can detect small differences in their body heat and brain patterns. Amy Watson, his computer expert, had been tracking the agents' activities. They're most interested in our military bases and research facilities, but so far none of them have discovered the ZEUS project. Meanwhile, outside the barrier, Captain Morrison and Admiral Torres were preparing for the day when ZEUS would be ready. They had gathered a small fleet of humanity's fastest ships, all equipped with experimental weapons and shields. When ZEUS is activated, we'll have only a short time to act, Torres explained to his ship captains. The aliens will know immediately that something has changed. The plan was risky. Once ZEUS was turned on, its energy signature would be detected by alien sensors across the solar system. The human fleet would have to attack the barrier stations at exactly the right moment, when ZEUS was ready to be used as a threat. Dr. Lisa Carter had been working with Brooks to understand exactly how ZEUS worked. What she learned made her both amazed and terrified. The weapon creates what we call a cascade effect, Brooks explained. It starts with one atom, breaks it apart in a special way, and that causes nearby atoms to break apart too. The effect spreads like ripples in a pond. How do you control where it stops? Lisa asked. That's the hardest part. ZEUS has to calculate the exact pattern of energy release that will affect only the targets we choose. If the calculation is wrong by even a tiny amount, the cascade could spread much farther than we intended. What's the worst-case scenario? Brooks was quiet for a moment. ZEUS could theoretically create a cascade that would destroy everything in this part of the galaxy. Stars, planets, space stations, all turned into basic energy. Lisa felt sick. And you're the only person who can control it? I've spent 20 years thinking about how to make it safe. But safe is a relative term when dealing with forces this powerful. As the weeks passed, the ZEUS project faced many problems. The power generators were harder to build than expected. The computer systems that would control the weapon needed software more complex than anything ever created. And the entire facility had to be shielded so that its energy signatures wouldn't be detected by alien sensors. We're behind schedule, Dr. Rodriguez reported to Brooks. The main power core won't be ready for at least 2 more weeks. Then we work faster, Brooks replied. Every day we delay, more humans die on the colony worlds. The news from outside, the barrier was getting worse. 5 more colonies had been abandoned because they couldn't survive without Earth support. Families were being destroyed as people died from diseases that could have been easily cured with medicine from Earth. Agent Karen Walsh brought Brooks recordings from the colonies every week. She hoped they would motivate the scientists to work faster, but she could see that each recording made Brooks more worried about using ZEUS. What if threatening them with this weapon just makes the aliens more determined to destroy us? Brooks asked after watching a particularly sad recording. What if not threatening them means all those people die anyway? Karen replied. Brooks had been having nightmares about ZEUS since returning to Earth. In her dreams, she activated the weapon and watched helplessly as it destroyed not just the alien ships, but human worlds too. The cascade effect spread across the galaxy, turning everything into burning energy. But she also had dreams about human children dying in the colonies while she did nothing to help them. The underground facility became busier as ZEUS neared completion. The device now hummed with power, and the air around it seemed to shimmer with invisible energy. Warning alarms sounded whenever anyone got too close to the main emitter. "The weapon is almost ready," Brooks announced to President Santos. "But I want to be very clear about something. Once ZEUS is activated, there will be no going back. The aliens will know we have it, and they'll have to decide whether to negotiate or attack. What do you think they'll do?" "I don't know. They've never faced a weapon like this before." Tony Clark's resistance cells had been preparing for the moment when ZEUS would be revealed. They had identified all the alien agents on Earth and were ready to capture them when the time came. They had also prepared safe houses and escape routes, in case the aliens decided to attack Earth directly. "Remember," Tony told his people, "when ZEUS is activated, everything changes. The aliens might try to destroy every human on Earth to prevent us from using the weapon. Be ready for anything." Dr. Carl Rodriguez ran the final tests on ZEUS's targeting system. The weapon could now calculate cascade patterns that would affect specific targets while leaving everything else undamaged. At least, that's what the computers said. No one could be completely sure until the weapon was actually used. "All systems are functioning perfectly," he reported to Brooks. "ZEUS is ready." Brooks stood before the completed weapon, her hand on the activation switch. Around her, hundreds of scientists and workers waited quietly. They all knew that when she pressed that switch, the fate of humanity would be decided. "Are you ready, Dr. Brooks?" President Santos asked. Brooks thought about the human children dying on distant worlds. She thought about the families torn apart by the alien barrier. She thought about the future of human exploration among the stars. She also thought about the terrible power she was about to unleash. "As ready as anyone can be to threaten the destruction of solar systems," she replied. Brooks pressed the switch. ZEUS came alive with a deep humming sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Energy readings spiked off the charts. Warning. Lights flashed throughout the facility. Somewhere above them, alien sensors would be detecting the energy signature. Soon, the hegemony would know that humans had built something new and dangerous. The final phase of humanity's fight for freedom was about to begin. The moment ZEUS activated, every alien ship in the solar system detected its energy signature. The readings were unlike anything the hegemony had seen before, a power source that seemed to bend the laws of physics themselves. On the flagship of the alien fleet, Kethvar of the Vorthak stared at his instruments in disbelief. "What are the humans doing? These energy readings suggest they have built something impossible." "It is not impossible if they have actually done it," replied the metal tree being, known as Torsen. "But it is extremely dangerous. This energy signature indicates weapons technology far beyond what we believed humans capable of creating." Meanwhile, in the underground facility beneath Switzerland, Dr. Brooks watched her computers calculate targeting solutions. ZEUS was not just active, it was already mapping the locations of every alien ship and barrier station in the solar system. "Dr. Brooks, we're getting massive energy feedback from the weapon," Dr. Rodriguez reported. "ZEUS is drawing more power than we calculated." "That's normal," Brooks replied, though she felt worried. "The weapon needs enormous energy to create stable cascade patterns." President Santos stood behind her, watching the readouts that showed ZEUS preparing to fire. "How long before we can use it?" "The targeting computers need another 6 hours to calculate safe firing patterns. If we use ZEUS before then, we might not be able to control where the cascade effects stop." Above ground, Captain Morrison led his small fleet toward the nearest barrier station. Admiral Torres commanded the operation from his flagship, the New Horizons. Their job was to create a distraction while ZEUS finished its preparations. "All ships begin the attack," Torres ordered. Morrison's ship, the Swift Arrow, led the charge against the barrier station. It was a massive alien structure that looked like a crystal growing in space with energy flowing through its transparent walls. "Fire all weapons," Morrison commanded. Human laser beams and missile strikes hit the barrier station, but the alien technology absorbed most of the damage. Still, the attack got the aliens' attention. Human ships are attacking Barrier Station 7, reported an alien communications officer to Kethvar. Should we destroy them? Not yet. I want to understand what they are trying to accomplish. The human fleet fought bravely, but they were heavily outnumbered. Alien ships with crystal, hulls and energy weapons attacked from all sides. Several human vessels were damaged and 2 were destroyed. But the battle served its purpose. While the aliens focused on the space combat, they paid less attention to the strange energy readings coming from Earth. In his underground command center, Tony Clark monitored alien communications that his people had learned to intercept. The aliens are confused, he reported to President Santos over a secure channel. They know something big is happening, but they don't know what. Good. How much longer do we have before they figure it out? Hard to say, but when they do, they'll probably attack Earth directly. Back in the ZEUS facility, Dr. Brooks was making final adjustments to the weapon's targeting system. She had programmed it to threaten 17 different star systems controlled by the hegemony, all of them uninhabited but crucial to their technology and supply networks. If ZEUS fires at full power, she explained to the gathered scientists, these systems will be destroyed within hours. The cascade effect will cause their stars to explode in a chain reaction. Lisa Carter studied the targeting display. Dr. Brooks, if you destroy those systems, won't the explosions affect other nearby stars? That's the threat, Brooks replied grimly. The aliens know that if they don't negotiate, the cascade could spread to inhabited systems. Dr. Rodriguez looked worried. But what if it spreads to our systems too? I've calculated the patterns very carefully. The cascade should stop at the targets I've chosen. Should being the important word. The space battle continued for 3 hours. Morrison's fleet fought with desperate courage, knowing they were buying time for humanity's ultimate gambit. More human ships were damaged or destroyed, but they inflicted some damage on the alien vessels too. Finally, ZEUS was ready. All systems are fully charged and operational, Brooks announced. Targeting computers have calculated stable cascade patterns for all 17 target systems. President Santos activated an emergency broadcast that reached every human in the solar system, including the colonies outside the barrier. People of Earth and the colonies, this is President Santos. Today we make our stand for freedom. At the same time, Commander Ryan Bell, still aboard the alien flagship as a diplomatic observer, received a coded message. It told him to deliver humanity's ultimatum to the Hegemony Tribunal. I need to speak to your leaders immediately, he told Kethvar. Humanity has something to show you. The alien tribunal gathered quickly in their great chamber. Ryan stood before them with a small device that projected a hologram of Dr. Brooks in her underground facility. I am Dr. Helen Brooks, her image said calmly. I have just activated a weapon system called ZEUS. Your sensors have already detected its energy signature. The aliens looked at each other with what might have been concern. Kethvar spoke first. What is this weapon? ZEUS can destroy star systems by causing their suns to explode in controlled cascade reactions. I have currently targeted 17 of your uninhabited systems that are crucial to your technology network. The glowing alien representative flickered with brighter light. You are threatening to commit mass destruction. I am offering you a choice, Brooks replied. Remove the barriers around human space immediately, or watch as we destroy your infrastructure across multiple star systems. This is madness, said the scaled alien. Such a weapon could destroy everything in this region of the galaxy. Yes, it could. That's what makes it an effective deterrent. Torsen, the metal tree being, made sounds like branches breaking in. A storm. Humans are proving our point about how dangerous you are. You created this situation when you imprisoned us without negotiation, Brooks responded. We tried diplomacy. You refused to listen. Now we speak in the only language you seem to understand. Power. The alien tribunal began arguing among themselves in their various languages. Ryan could tell they were frightened and angry, but also uncertain about what to do. Finally, Kethvar turned back to Brooks's hologram. You would really destroy entire star systems to gain your freedom? I would really destroy entire star systems to prevent my species from dying in a cage you built around us. The standoff had begun. ZEUS hummed with barely contained power beneath the Earth, ready to unleash destruction across 17 star systems. The alien fleet surrounded the human solar system, their weapons powered and ready to sterilize every human world. Both sides waited to see who would blink first. In the ZEUS facility, Dr. Brooks kept her hand on the firing control, knowing that one press of a button could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever, or accidentally destroy everything she was trying to protect. The next few hours would determine whether humanity won its freedom among the stars, or whether both humans and aliens would learn the true cost of refusing to compromise.